What if I told you that just 5 minutes a day could completely change your life? Not an hour, not a full morning routine that feels impossible to stick to, but only 5 minutes. Imagine having more energy, sharper focus, and even a deeper sense of happiness, all from habits that take less time than scrolling through social media. Here's the truth. Most people believe that self-improvement requires massive effort. Hours at the gym, hours of meditation, or an entire lifestyle overhaul. But science shows us something different. Researchers at Harvard and Stanford have proven that small, repeated habits build what's called the compound effect. Think of it like interest in your savings account, tiny deposits every day, but over time the growth is huge. And here's the emotional part. You don't need to reinvent your life overnight. You don't need to wait for the perfect Monday to start over. Change begins with just one decision, one small action, and 5 minutes is enough to spark a chain reaction that reshapes your future. So let me ask you if 5 minutes could make you calmer, healthier, and more productive. Why wouldn't you start today? Stay with me until the end of this video, because I'm going to share simple science-backed 5-minute habits that anyone can do. Habits that may seem small, but have the power to change everything. Then let's start with the simplest, yet one of the most powerful habits you can ever practice: 5 minutes of mindful breathing. Now I know what you might be thinking. Breathing. Really, how can something so basic actually change my life? But that's exactly the point. Breathing is the one thing we all do every second without even noticing. And when you learn to take control of it, even for just 5 minutes a day, you unlock a level of calm focus and clarity that most people are desperate to find in today's world. Think about your mornings. For many of us, the day starts with chaos. The alarm goes off, emails are waiting, the kids need attention, coffee needs to be made. And before we even realize it, we're already stressed, overwhelmed, and in survival mode. But what if instead of rushing straight into the noise, you gave yourself 5 minutes, just 5, to sit, close your eyes, and simply breathe? This isn't about sitting cross-legged on a mountaintop or escaping to a silent retreat. It's about reclaiming control in the middle of your everyday life. Apps like Headspace and Calm, used by millions of Americans, have shown us how simple guided breathing can transform stress into strength. They don't ask for an hour. They don't ask you to be a monk. They just ask for 5 minutes. And here's where science comes in. Researchers at Harvard discovered that just 5 minutes of daily mindfulness breathing can significantly lower cortisol levels, the stress hormone that silently damages our health when it stays elevated for too long. Lower cortisol means better focus, better sleep, healthier blood pressure, and even improved memory. It's like pressing a reset button for your brain. But let me ask you this. When was the last time you gave your brain permission to slow down? We live in a culture that rewards hustle and constant movement. We brag about being busy, but deep down, many of us are running on empty. 5 minutes of mindful breathing gives you back that fuel. It's a way of saying to yourself, I matter enough to pause. I matter enough to breathe. And the best part, you can do this anywhere. Sitting at your desk before a stressful Zoom meeting, in your car before walking into work, even while waiting in line at the grocery store. No equipment, no cost, no excuses. Just you, your lungs, and 5 minutes. Here's how it works in practice. Sit comfortably, close your eyes, and take a deep breath in through your nose for a count of 4. Hold for 4 seconds. Then release slowly through your mouth for a count of 6. That's one cycle. Repeat this for 5 minutes. Notice how your shoulders drop, how your heart rate slows, how your mind clears. You're not running from your thoughts. You're simply learning to sit with them to acknowledge them, and to let them go. And over time, these 5 minutes create a ripple effect. You start responding to challenges instead of reacting impulsively. You start feeling calmer in conversations, more patient with loved ones, and more present in the small joys of daily life. Imagine walking into your day not already exhausted, but centered, clear, and ready. That's the power of mindful breathing. Some people call this a spiritual practice. Others call it neuroscience. I like to think of it as mental fitness. Just as 5 minutes of push-ups can strengthen your body, 5 minutes of breathing can strengthen your mind. It's the workout your brain has been waiting for. So here's my challenge to you tomorrow morning. Before you touch your phone, before you sip your coffee, give yourself 5 minutes to breathe. No distractions. No pressure to do it perfectly. Just 5 minutes of quiet connection with yourself. And then watch how the rest of your day changes. Because at the end of the day, success and happiness don't come from doing more. They come from being more present in the life you already have. And presence starts with something as small and as powerful as your next breath. Now let's move on to the second 5-minute habit. And honestly, this one has the power to completely rewire the way you see your life. It's called gratitude journaling. And before you roll your eyes and think, writing down things I'm grateful for, how is that going to change anything? Stay with me. Because science, psychology, and even some of the most successful people in America all point to this simple practice as a game changer. Here's how it works. Every single day, you take just 5 minutes and write down 3 things you're grateful for. That's it. 3 things. They don't have to be life-changing. They don't have to be dramatic. It could be as simple as, I'm grateful for my morning coffee. Or I'm grateful that I have a friend I can call. Or even, I'm grateful for the roof over my head. Now here's the magic. When you write these things down, you're not just making a list. You're literally retraining your brain to look for the positive instead of the negative. Our minds are naturally wired to focus on problems, what went wrong at work, what argument we had yesterday, what bills are due next week. Gratitude journaling flips that script. It shifts your attention away from stress and onto appreciation. And over time, that shift builds resilience, calm, and even joy. Don't just take my word for it. Studies from the University of California, Davis, led by Dr. Robert Emmons, found that people who kept a daily gratitude journal reported 25% greater happiness and even slept better at night. Think about that 5 minutes of writing, and you're not just improving your mood, but also your rest, your health, your relationships. And this isn't just an academic idea. Some of the most influential people in the world practice it daily. Oprah Winfrey has spoken for years about keeping her gratitude journal, saying it's the single most important thing that kept her grounded through success, fame, and challenge. Celebrities, CEOs, athletes, you name it, have all admitted that writing down their gratitude helps them stay focused and mentally strong. But let's get real. Life isn't always easy. Some days it feels impossible to find something to be thankful for. You might be going through financial stress, health struggles, or family conflict. And that's exactly when gratitude journaling becomes the most powerful. Because in those moments, writing down even the tiniest light, a kind word from a stranger, a warm meal, a sunrise reminds you that good still exists, even in the middle of struggle. Gratitude doesn't erase pain, but it gives you strength to keep moving through it. So let me ask you this. What would your day feel like if you started it by focusing on what you do have instead of what you don't? What if instead of checking emails first thing in the morning, you wrote down 3 things you appreciate about your life? Would you walk into your day with more patience, more calm, maybe even more joy? Here's the truth. Gratitude is like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. At first, it may feel awkward, forced, or even silly. But as the days go by, you'll notice a shift. You'll catch yourself appreciating small things in the moment. Your child's laughter, the way the sunlight hits your window, the fact that you made it through a tough meeting. Those small recognitions begin to stack up, and before you know it, you're not just journaling gratitude, you're living it. And you don't need a fancy notebook or a $50 planner from Amazon. A simple piece of paper or the Notes app on your phone works just fine. Some people like to write before bed as a way to end the day on a positive note. Others do it in the morning to set the tone for the day ahead. There's no wrong time as long as you commit to those 5 minutes. Think about it this way. In a world where anxiety and stress levels are higher than ever, what's 5 minutes worth to you? If it can give you peace of mind. Most of us spend more than 5 minutes complaining, worrying, or scrolling social media. Imagine if you invested that same time into gratitude instead. So here's my challenge for you. Tonight, grab a notebook or just open your phone and write down 3 things you're grateful for. Don't overthink it. Don't judge it. Just write. Then do the same tomorrow and the day after. Commit for 1 week and watch how your perspective begins to shift. Because gratitude isn't just about feeling good in the moment. It's about rewiring your brain, reducing anxiety, boosting happiness, and reminding yourself that even on the hardest days, you still have reasons to keep going. And sometimes that reminder is exactly what we need to change everything. Let's talk about the third habit, and this one might surprise you with how powerful it really is. It's called the 5-minute mini workout. Now don't panic. I'm not talking about an hour at the gym dripping sweat lifting heavy weights or buying expensive equipment. I'm talking about something so simple you can do it in your living room, in your pajamas, before your morning coffee. And all it takes is 5 minutes. Here's the routine: 10 squats, 10 push-ups, and a 30-second plank. That's it. That's the workout. Doesn't sound like much, right? But here's the shocking truth, that those 5 minutes can change the way your entire day feels. Think about it. Most of us wake up feeling sluggish. We roll out of bed, grab our phones, maybe pour some coffee, and drag ourselves into the day half asleep. But when you move your body, even just for a few minutes, you trigger your circulation, get oxygen flowing through your blood, and signal your brain to wake up and perform. It's like hitting a reset button for your energy levels. In fact, researchers at the Mayo Clinic point out that short bursts of movement, even just a few minutes, can improve cardiovascular health, boost metabolism, and reduce fatigue. And here's the kicker: it's often more sustainable than long workouts that most people quit after a week. 5 minutes a day might not seem like much, but over time the benefits stack up, just like compound interest in a bank account. Let's break it down. Squats work your largest muscle groups, your legs and glutes. This gets your heart pumping and your blood circulating. It's basically a natural energy booster like coffee, but without the crash. Push-ups target your upper body, chest, arms, and shoulders. They build strength and posture, which is critical if you sit at a desk all day. The plank engages your core, the foundation of all your movement. A strong core means less back pain, better stability, and more confidence in everything you do. In just 5 minutes, you've woken up your body, activated multiple muscle groups, and boosted your energy. You don't need a gym membership, fancy equipment, or even a lot of space. Just your body, your floor, and your willingness to commit. And here's the part I love: this tiny workout becomes a mental victory. You tell yourself, I showed up. I did something for me. That sense of accomplishment doesn't just stay in your workout, it spills into the rest of your day. You walk taller, you feel sharper, You carry momentum into your work, your conversations, and your decisions. Think about this. We live in a society where people spend hours sitting at work, in cars, in front of screens. The human body wasn't designed to sit still for 10 hours a day. No wonder we feel drained and sluggish. A 5-minute mini workout is your way of breaking that cycle. It reminds your body that it's alive, capable, and strong. And it doesn't matter who you are. Whether you're 25 or 65, these simple moves can be adapted to your level. Can't do a full push-up? Do them against a wall. Struggle with squats. Hold onto a chair for balance. The goal isn't perfection, the goal is movement. Consistency beats intensity every time. Here's a perspective to consider. If you do this mini workout 5 days a week, that's 25 minutes of exercise. Multiply that by 52 weeks, and you're looking at over 21 hours of movement every year without ever stepping foot in a gym. 21 hours of strengthening your heart, boosting your energy, and fueling your mood, all from tiny daily investments. And the benefits aren't just physical. Exercise releases endorphins, your body's natural feel-good chemicals. That means less stress, less anxiety, and a brighter mood. 5 minutes of movement is like a daily prescription for happiness without the side effects. But let me ask you this, how do you normally start your mornings? Do you reach for caffeine? Do you scroll your phone? What if instead you gave yourself the gift of 5 minutes of movement before anything else? Imagine walking into your day already feeling accomplished, energized, and confident before you even touch your coffee. I'll be honest with you. At first, it won't feel easy. 5 minutes might feel long. Your legs might burn after squats, your arms might shake during push-ups, your core might tremble during that plank. But here's the secret: that discomfort is your body waking up, getting stronger, preparing you for a better version of yourself. And the more you do it, the easier it gets. Soon, 5 minutes will feel natural. You might even crave it. I like to think of this mini workout as natural coffee. Caffeine might jolt you awake, but exercise fuels your cells with real energy. It gives you clarity without the crash stamina, without the side effects. Your heart beats stronger, your blood flows smoother, and your brain fires faster, all from 5 minutes of movement. So here's your challenge tomorrow morning. Before you reach for your phone, before you pour that cup of coffee, try this mini workout. 10 squats, 10 push-ups, 30 seconds of plank. That's it. Time yourself. It won't take longer than brushing your teeth. But it could energize you more than anything else you do all day. Because here's the truth: big change doesn't come from big, impossible goals. It comes from small, repeatable actions. 5 minutes of exercise may not seem like much, but over time, it builds a body that's stronger, a mind that's sharper, and a life that's more energized. And all you need to do is start. Now let's move to the fourth habit, and this one is all about fueling your mind. 5 minutes of daily reading or listening to a book. Here's the truth: in a world where we're constantly bombarded by notifications, news updates, and endless scrolling, very few people actually take time to feed their brains with something that uplifts, educates, and inspires. But here's the secret: you don't need hours. Just 1 page a day, 5 minutes of learning can completely transform the way you think, act, and live. Think about this for a second. If you read 1 page every single day, you'd finish over 365 pages a year. That's at least 12 books in 1 year without ever feeling overwhelmed. Imagine the impact of reading 12 books on personal growth, leadership, finance, or mental health every single year, all while most people barely finish one. That's how powerful this small daily commitment can be. And it doesn't have to be complicated. You could open a book right before bed or while sipping your morning coffee. If you're constantly on the move, you can turn your commute into a mobile classroom by listening to audiobooks or podcasts. stuck in traffic. That's 20 minutes a day of learning that could change the way you approach your career, your relationships, even your mindset. Millions of Americans are already doing this, and it's one of the biggest reasons they're staying ahead in such a competitive world. Let's look at some examples. Warren Buffett, one of the most successful investors in history, has said he spends up to 80% of his day reading. Bill Gates is known for reading over 50 books a year. These people aren't reading for fun, they're reading because it gives them an edge. Now, you may not have hours a day to dedicate like they do, but 5 minutes, everyone has 5 minutes. And here's where it gets interesting. Studies from the University of Sussex found that reading for just 6 minutes can reduce stress levels by up to 68%. 6 minutes. That's more effective than listening to music or even drinking tea. Why? Because reading slows down. Your breathing focuses your mind and pulls you into a calmer state. So not only are you learning, you're also reducing anxiety at the same time. Now I want you to imagine this instead of grabbing your phone to scroll TikTok or Instagram first thing in the morning. What if you opened a book and read just one page? How would your day feel different? Would you start with more focus, more clarity? Maybe even a spark of inspiration that changes the way you approach everything else. And here's my personal take. Books are like conversations with the greatest minds across history. When you read, you're not just passing time. You're sitting with philosophers, scientists, entrepreneurs, and thinkers who condense decades of experience into a few hundred pages. Every page you read is like downloading wisdom that took someone else a lifetime to discover. And you get it in 5 minutes. But here's the pushback I often hear: I'm too busy. I don't have time to read. Let's be honest. We all have time, we just don't prioritize it. The average American spends over 2 hours a day on social media. If you can give 2 hours to scrolling, you can give 5 minutes to your future. And 5 minutes every day adds up faster than you think. And if reading a physical book feels intimidating, that's okay. Start with audiobooks. Platforms like Audible make it so easy you can listen while driving, exercising, cooking dinner, or even folding laundry. You turn wasted time into growth time. Imagine finishing 12 audiobooks a year just by replacing background noise with something that actually elevates your mind. Here's a simple way to start. Pick one book that speaks to an area of your life you want to improve. Maybe it's a book on relationships, health, money, or personal development. Commit to 1 page a day. That's it. No pressure to finish chapters, no race to the end. Just show up for 5 minutes. Over time, those small moments stack up into a library of wisdom that shapes who you are becoming. And don't underestimate the ripple effect. Reading a book on leadership could make you a better manager at work. A book on health might inspire you to make better choices for your body. A book on mindfulness could help you become more patient with your family. 1 page a day doesn't just change you, it changes the people around you too. So let me ask you, when was the last time you finished a book that truly moved you, that shifted the way you see the world? And what would your life look like if you had 12 of those books shaping your perspective every year? At the end of the day, success doesn't come from what you do once in a while. It comes from what you do consistently. And 5 minutes of reading or listening is one of the easiest, most rewarding habits you could ever build. So here's my challenge tonight. Instead of scrolling endlessly before bed, pick up a book. Read 1 page. Just one. Or tomorrow, instead of turning on the radio in your car, play an audiobook for 5 minutes. See how it feels. Because the truth is, 5 minutes of learning today could be the start of a lifetime of transformation. Let's talk about the 5th habit, and honestly, this one might be the most practical of them all, spending 5 minutes at the end of your day to plan tomorrow. Here's how simple it is before you go to bed. Take out a notebook or even just the Notes app on your phone and write down the 3 most important tasks you need to accomplish tomorrow. That's it. 3 tasks. Not a full to-do list of 20 things you'll never get through, not a vague idea of, I'll see what happens tomorrow. Just 3 clear, specific priorities. And here's why this matters. For most people, mornings are stressful. You wake up, check emails, and immediately get dragged into someone else's agenda. Your boss wants something, the news is chaotic, your family needs your attention, and suddenly your day is running you instead of the other way around. But when you take 5 minutes the night before to decide what really matters, you wake up with clarity. You know exactly where to start, and that momentum carries you through the rest of the day. Productivity expert Brian Tracy has a famous line: "Every minute you spend in planning saves 10 minutes in execution." Think about that. If you spend 5 minutes tonight planning, you could save up to 50 minutes tomorrow. That's nearly an hour back in your day, just from a tiny investment of time. And it's not just about saving time, it's about reducing stress. Studies on decision fatigue show that the more choices you have to make during the day, the more drained you become. By planning tomorrow's top 3 tasks ahead of time, you remove the guesswork. You start your morning on autopilot, knowing exactly what deserves your focus. That alone can lower anxiety and boost your confidence. Now let's make this real. Imagine 2 scenarios. In the first, you wake up with no plan. You check your phone, scroll through social media, answer random emails, maybe start a project, get distracted, then end the day, wondering where your time went. In the second scenario, you wake up, glance at your list of 3 priorities, and dive right into the first one before distractions can steal your focus. By lunch, you've already finished 2 meaningful tasks. At the end of the day, instead of feeling scattered, you feel accomplished. Same amount of hours, completely different outcome. And here's another powerful piece. Writing down your top 3 tasks doesn't just improve productivity, it reshapes your identity. Each night you're telling yourself, I am the kind of person who takes control of my time. That belief builds self-discipline, which is the foundation of success in any area of life. Now you might be thinking, what if I don't get all 3 things done? That's okay. The point isn't perfection, the point is direction. Even if you complete just one of your 3 tasks, you've accomplished something meaningful. Compare that to crossing off a dozen minor errands, but never touching the work that actually moves your life forward. Productivity isn't about doing more, it's about doing what matters. And here's the secret: when you consistently plan 3 tasks each night, you'll start to notice patterns. You'll see what kinds of things really push your goals forward and what kinds of things are just noise. Over time, your brain learns to filter out distractions, and you naturally become more focused, efficient, and intentional. Let me share a quick story. A friend of mine used to constantly complain that she was too busy, but never seemed to get anything important done. I suggested she try this 5-minute planning habit. At first, she resisted, but after a week of writing down her top 3 tasks every night, she realized something: she was spending 80% of her time on, things that didn't actually matter. By focusing on just 3 priorities a day, she not only got more done, but she also felt less stressed and more in control. That's the power of this habit. It brings clarity to the chaos. And here's the best part: that this habit compounds over time. If you complete just 3 meaningful tasks every day, that's 21 tasks a week, nearly 100 tasks a month, and over 1,000 tasks a year. Imagine what kind of transformation that level of consistent, focused action could create in your life. That's not theory, that's math. But let me ask you, how often do you end your day feeling scattered, wondering if you really accomplished anything that mattered? And what would your life look like if instead you ended each day knowing tomorrow is already set up for success? That's the gift of this 5-minute habit. And remember, you don't need a fancy system. Some people love planners and color-coded journals, but a sticky note on your nightstand works just as well. The key is simplicity. Don't overthink it. Don't make it complicated. Just write down 3 priorities. Consistency will always beat complexity. So here's your challenge tonight. Before you go to bed, take 5 minutes to plan tomorrow. Write down the 3 things that, if completed, would make your day a success. Then tomorrow morning, attack those tasks before anything else. Do it for a week and watch how much more focused, calm, and productive you become. Because at the end of the day, success doesn't come from luck, it comes from preparation. And 5 minutes of planning today could be the difference between a life of constant reaction and a life of intentional progress. And here's the big takeaway. It only takes 5 minutes a day to create a ripple effect that can transform your entire year. 5 minutes may feel small in the moment, but when you repeat it consistently, the results multiply. 1 year from now, you could look back and realize that these little daily choices have reshaped your health, your mindset, and even your future. Here's the emotional truth. Life doesn't usually change because of one big dramatic decision. Life changes because of the small things we do over and over again. A few minutes of breathing, a few words of gratitude, a quick workout, 1 page of learning, writing down tomorrow's priorities. It's the small steps, not the giant leaps, that build the life you've been dreaming of. So here's my challenge to you: don't wait. Don't tell yourself you'll start on Monday or next month or when life gets easier. Pick just one of these habits and start today. 5 minutes, that's all it takes. And if this video inspired you, I'd love for you to join this community. Hit that subscribe button so you don't miss the next video, and share in the comments which habit you're going to begin with. Because together, we can prove that small actions repeated daily create big change. Remember, your future doesn't begin with tomorrow. It begins with what you choose to do in the next 5 minutes.